Hello, everyone. Just 3 days before the Pisces full moon lunar eclipse, there's going to be a Jupiter-Venus trine. It's going to be an air trine, but the space-time moment is not very positive, nevertheless. And if you look at what is happening in the world, there is a huge escalation in the Russian-Ukrainian war because England just gave permission to the Ukrainian to use long-range weapons, which definitely means escalation. And I don't really understand why they are doing it because I just can't understand really because it has got nothing to do with them. Ukraine is not even an EU country. It's not a European country. It's not part of Europe in any sense. Except for the fact that it has huge lands and lots of resources. And of course, probably this is the reason that they want to simply have access to these resources. And just before the Jupiter-Venus trine became exact, there was this first television debate between Trump and Kamala Harris. I don't really trust either of them, although I have to say that, first of all, I have no right to suggest who should win because I don't live in the United States and I never intend to go there because I want to remember this great nation, this great place as it was before September 11th in 2001. It was a great place. I loved it. I love the people there. I love the potentials there. And it got just ruined by the Democrats and by the woke idiocy. And of course, Kamala Harris is the end product of this woke idiocy. But she was quite okay in this presidential debate. Of course, she did her homework and her keepers, her makers did their homework. For 5 days, they retreated in a hotel and she was coached, constantly coached. And we know that the ABC, the broadcasting company, I think the owner is very good friends with her. She definitely received the questions ahead of time. She was definitely coached. And as Trump said, that was an interesting thing. As Trump said, he was not debating with one person; he was debating with three persons, because the anchors really, really were treating him very unfairly. Having said that, it's none of my business. I'm not American. For Europe, it would be much better if Trump came in, but it was interesting to see that he gave his personality. He was not really prepared. He was he's like a large baby, very stuck up, full of himself, boastful, very intelligent, I must say. Those who think that he's an idiot, no, he's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing, but he was very Jupiterian in the negative way because he thought he would win, but he wasn't prepared. I don't know. It will be interesting to see how it will turn out. But it was a true Jupiterian moment. Actually, it was a true Jupiter Venusian moment in many many ways. Now let's take a look at the chart, the London chart. This is the London chart on September the 15th in the small hours at 6:34 London time. As you can see, the sun is just coming up on the horizon. Not yet sunrise. Virgo, of course, Virgo ascendant. There's this traffic jam in the first 12 degrees of Libra. You might remember that it was all at the South Node. And now there, of course, the three ladies left behind the South Node, and Australia is coming up to the conjunction with the South Node. The South Node denotes what we bring in from previous incarnations into this life. Australia is the karma breaker. Black Moonlit is the returning goddess who knows what she wants and she does it because she has the energy and stamina and determinedness and also the clairvoyance. Juno is the first lady, and Venus, which was conjunct a couple of, like 2 weeks ago with Juno, is now past them because she's the fastest. There's an exact Mercury Vesta conjunction focused on communication, but this is hidden. You see, they are not saying anything. It's in the 12th house. Uh, Jupiter is on the midheaven, and dark moon is on the IC. It's not exactly opposite because it's like it's only at 16 degrees. And as you know me by now, I work with very, very tight orbs. So actually the sun, there was a sun Jupiter square 3 days before the Venus Jupiter exactness, but I did not include the sun because it's separating already. So who cares? For it, so those are the highlights. And actually, yeah, the Pallas Athena Lilith conjunction is again getting tighter. The two very independent and strong feminine. Lilith denotes revolt against injustice, and Pallas Athena is the wisdom. So that's the space-time moment. And as I said, nothing is really around 20 degrees of the signs, only Jupiter and Venus, so they kind of stand alone. This trine is in air signs, and air is the element of thinking, of cerebral processes, of communication, of reaching out to the other, sharing information, learning processes. And Jupiter and Venus are highlighting this energy. There are not too many transcendental objects either. Well, Venus only has Eros, and Eros, of course, is physical desire, and it's a very, very prominent thing to have because if you think about the Greek myth, how Gaia, Mother Earth, created herself out of chaos. There are three other entities that are born with her: Nyx, Erebus, so the night and darkness, and Eros, desire, physical desire, which shows that the Greeks understood quite well that in order to create anything, you need the desire to create it. And on Jupiter, we have three different and separate types of transcendental celestial objects. They are color coded as always. Asteroids, which denote the personal karmic past and karmic traits, uh, are magenta or purple. TNOs, SDOs, centaurs, trans-Neptunians, which orbit in the Kuiper belt, are describing our karmic wounds and either the phobias or the special traits that stem from them. And red is for fixed stars, and fixed stars are not uh, part of the human existence. They are not part of the solar system. They are out there in the universe, and they are higher dimensional worlds where the soul can migrate simply because it wants to evolve in a different way, not on a physical level. So here we have Requiem, and yes, unfortunately, the war seems to be escalating, and a lot of people are dying. And this is something that I should say and emphasize that during Trump, there was no war that the United States was fighting outside the United States, which probably saved the life of at least 1 million people, maybe 2 million. Think about it. And Altira, which is a TNO, and it's a creator god who creates the universe and then goes to the edges of the manifested world and never turns back and never so it's back towards the world that he himself created, and it represents the attitude to create something and not deal with the consequences. This is what you see, or create something and not bother with running it. And this is again what you see. That's exactly what you see. And Bellatrix is Beta Orion, and all the beta stars are usually the shadow energies of a constellation. And so Bellatrix gives you luck and success if you remain in the shadow. And that's again exactly what the powers that be try to do. They are hoping to succeed through the shadow. And Jupiter is enlarging everything it touches. So here are the two luck planets. I don't know exactly know how to show it to you. Maybe this is what we can do. Okay. Let's take a look at Venus first. Venus is ladies come first. So the Greek counterpart of Venus is Aphrodite, and her birth is already miraculous because when Kronos, Saturn, castrates his father Uranus, he throws his genitals into the ocean, and out of the ocean, Venus Aphrodite is being born, which indicates that beauty, true beauty, sheer immaculate beauty, comes sometimes from something horrible, and or it is manifested by a fact or by an act that is completely irrational or not understandable. And so she's quite a reckless character because she no one can actually tame her. So she does whatever she damn bad pleases. That's Aphrodite. She's not a very nice character, believe me. Venus is much more solid and reserved. So the archetype, of course, is the lover, as opposed to the wife or the mother, and her role is to give pleasure. And the astrological meaning is, of course, Fortuna minor, so minor luck. And I selected 4 positive traits or abilities: creating harmony, having good taste, being sensuous, and being creative on the physical level, so on the earthly physical level. And there are some negative traits which usually are as a result of exaggeration or excess usage of the archetype. Cheating is one of them, when you want to be the best and then you cheat. Materiality, just like in Material Girl, you might remember the song by Madonna, of course. Also, soullessness is interesting. We are coming back to that, and possessiveness. Possessiveness is there with Venus, with a negative Venus. Materiality, almost the same, really, but one is more psychic and the other one is more physical. Soullessness. Why am I saying that Venus sometimes is soulless? Well, if you look at the glyph, it shows that the crust of matter is conquered by the circle of the mind, but there's no half circle of the soul. So actually, Venus is soulless, and there could be very soulless behavior of a strong Venus. The sign placement is interesting because this is one of the inner planets. The other one is Mercury. So when you look into the solar system, from the Earth, of course, we have to have an Earth view because we live on the Earth. What you see is that Mercury and Venus are always around the sun, close to the sun. Where the closest is, of course, Mercury. And with Venus, that the biggest degree is like 48 degrees from the sun. So that's the distance, which means that it is either in the same sign as the sun or 1 or maximum 2 signs away, because 48 degrees is 1.5 signs, really. So, for instance, I have a Taurus Venus and I have a Cancer Sun. So that's what I meant by 1 or 2 signs. And the house placement is where we can create either harmony or money. So that's the or wealth, actually, even wealth, well-being, harmony, contentment, that is linked to the house placement of Venus. Okay, let's take a look at Jupiter. Jupiter is Zeus in the Greek mythology, big, boastful. As an archetype, he's the chief god, of course. So he's on top of the scale, so to speak, or the pyramid, tip of the pyramid. He is Fortuna major, so the major, the bigger luck. And as a positive attitudes or abilities, being lucky, luck, expansion, optimism, and also self-reliance. When you know your own worth, or you know that you are able to do something, that's a very important thing. And with negativity, again, it's when you exaggerate it or it's in excess, conceit, haughtiness, recklessness, and over spending, which means simply that you throw things out, you are wastefulness, maybe wastefulness could be also something. Okay, the sign placement is a mini generation because it changes signs every year. Of course, it's not from January 1st till December 31st, but usually 11 and a half months after entering a sign, it again changes sign and enters the next one. So it's a mini generation. And as for the house placement, it's a very interesting position because we have to state that Jupiter is not a money planet. Venus is. Venus also denotes money and wealth and actually earnings and money in the bank or assets. Whereas Jupiter doesn't have such connotations, but where it is, in the house where it is, you have optimism, self-confidence, and luck. And that is why, after a while, you are able to create well-being and or wealth in the house with the help of Jupiter. But again, it's not a money planet. It's not a monetary planet. But still, because of lucky functioning, you will be able to create wealth there. Okay. Besides the trine, which would be brilliant for a day or two, and I'm sure you and I both need luck. I have a number of projects which could do with some luck, to say the least. But there's also a grand cross, a cardinal grand cross, which is also a double karmic cage. I'm going to show you in a minute why. And this cardinal grand cross will be in the full moon eclipse chart, which is going to be 3 days later. So it's going to be still exact. As you see, this is the cardinal grand cross. So the 4 chart points are exactly 90 degrees away from each other, 2 oppositions, which are the inner energy. And it is a double karmic cage because every time you have a square, a T square with the nodes, it's called to be at the bending. Okay, that is a karmic cage. And since you have a Mars Ceres opposition, which is exactly squaring the nodal axis, that is a double karmic cage. So a double karmic cage, by definition, is always a ground cross. And since this is in cardinal signs, it's a cardinal ground cross, a cardinal double karmic cage. The south node is what we bring in for this incarnation. The north node is what we need to learn for this incarnation. We have another 4 months, maximum 3.5 months, how to learn to fight, how to self-assert, how to fight for what is due or what is important for us. And then it will move backwards into Pisces. And for 1.5 years, it will be in Pisces, self-sacrifice. We have to learn self-sacrifice, and winter is coming. Unfortunately, I have no idea how cold or how brutal winter this year will be. We had luck last year, but it was a very dry and very hot summer, so it might be a very cold and long winter. So I just want you to be prepared for that. But at the same time, you have to wait another 18 years before the North Node is again going to be in Aries. So learn to fight for what's due, what's yours, what is important to you. Mars, of course, rules this North Node, but it is in Pisces, and the votary Mars is not very strong, to say the least. At the same time, if you want a one-night stand, ladies, select a guy who has a votary Mars, because those are the best lovers. That's what my astrology teacher told me 40 years ago. Probably she knew what she was talking about. And this Mars is now squaring the nodal axis. So actually, okay, how am I fighting? What am I fighting for? Okay, and the opposite it is Ceres, the nurturing principle, mothering nurturing principle. In Capricorn, it shows a stern, severe, strong mother who is not very warm, but is catering for the child's needs, but not too mild and loving. Okay, here are the transcendental celestial objects. En masse, we have Pythagoras, a polymath philosopher and the father of numerology. Lachesis, who is the middle of the fates, who is actually creating the fabric of an incarnation, and Mirzam, which is Beta Canis Major, uh, the the star about 5 degrees away from, maybe 6 degrees away from Sirius, and it heralded the arrival of Ceres during heliacal rising. So when the Egyptians saw Mirzam, they knew that a couple of days later, Sirius will be rising before the sun, and then the Nile will flood. So it's a star which is heralding something that you need to pay attention. It is a star that says, please pay attention to what is happening, because you won't have any more warning. You need to actually see the signs and interpret them properly in order to do what you need to do, or what's necessary, or to survive, or whatever. On Ceres, you have Tyr, Electra, Quaoar, and Phasias. Tyr is the war god of the Norse mythology. Electra is the princess who is making his little brother to kill their mother because she doesn't want to do it. So she's linked to this archetype is linked to manipulation, to get what you want without actually dirtying your hands. Quaoar is one of my favorite TNOs, creation out of nothing. I spoke about it many times. So you can create, because you only have your physical body and your voice, you still can create, and you can create whole worlds. That's Quaoar. And Phasias, which is M22, it's a nebula, and and we are going to look at it in a minute. So, but you should know that nebulae used to be linked to eyesight, because it's not one big star, but it's a cluster of tiny stars, and for it to detect, you needed very good eyesight, and it's in the nebula in Sagittarius, in the face of Sagittarius. And then on the north node, you have Thetis, the sea goddess or ocean goddess, and Astronomia, the stars. So you have the sea and the stars at your disposal if you pay attention. And on the south node, you have Leonardo, of course, he was a painter, but it actually, these painter names denote either the age or the fact that this is an artist. So those are the transcendental celestial objects. And let's take a look at Phasias, which is right here. So actually not the face of the celestial archer. It is its stare. It is its view, so to speak. And Bernadette Brady says uh, something about how negative this star is. And I don't really believe that a star can bring any negativity. I know that it has very bad, so there are some very badly treated stars. But think about it: stars are not uh, in the solar system. They are not of the human potentials or experiences. They're out there of the universe. They're higher dimensional worlds. And yeah, we could utilize them in a bad way just because we don't know how to utilize them. We don't know how to treat them. And actually, if you come to think of it, this is the stare, okay, of the celestial archer, the way he's paying attention to the prey. And this was in ancient times, a bow and arrow was like today is an atomic bomb or a tank or a missile or a drone, because you didn't need to be too close to a person to be able to shoot an arrow at him and destroy him without being threatened. So it's really the Wunderwaffe of the age, and that's what fasting is representing. That you can actually take a look at something from afar know what it is, realize what it is, and know what you need to do about it. So that's the space-time moment. It's a lucky day, but at the same time, it does have question marks, and it kind of leads towards the eclipse, which I'm going to take a look at in a deeper way. It is not a nice eclipse. When we look at the star Ceres, it's 8 south. It's definitely not nice. It brings a lot of sorrow and negative energy. We will see. I will certainly make a video. I don't know when, because September is the busiest month, because all the new courses are starting, and there's a lot of administration, which I hate, and a lot of preparing, and a lot of handouts and things like that. But I will make it. I will make the video for sure. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.